Welcome guys to today's video. We're going to be interviewing Nerlan Terrell. She is a tax and accounting consultant located in the great state of Florida. So we're going to just talk about Nerlan and her journey. She is actually one of my newest students. She just joined really less than 4 weeks ago. And I really feel like it's important to document just what her experience has been so far, so you guys can get a real world kind of view on what you can expect in the next 2 to 4 weeks of us working together. So Nerlan, thank you so much for taking the time, and allowing me to interview and document your story. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nerlan Terrell, and I'm a bookkeeping and tax advisor, consultant, and I work primarily with residential contractors looking to increase their profits and optimize their estimates. So, like Krista said, I am located in Sunrise, Florida, and I joined her program just about 4 weeks ago. So I'm a newbie.
Right. Good stuff. So walk me through, before you joined the program, like what were some thoughts, what were some things that you did up until the point that you joined?
Okay, well, it's been kind of a learning journey for me. I decided to set up the practice about a year ago, and I've been working towards just really putting my systems together and getting everything all set. The other thing is I was trying to bootstrap it a little bit. So there are a lot of tools that are out there, and it's not to say that it's a bad thing. There are a lot of free tools out there, or free enough for the small amount of volume that we have at this point that we can use to get started before we start growing into a bigger practice. And these are the things I was setting up prior to joining with Krista. So I had everything set up except for the clients. Getting the clients was probably the hardest part for me because it's juggling a lot of time and trying to find your client in the right spot at the right time. And that was a bit challenging. And there was this marketing portion, which I am not a huge marketing guru. So that part was definitely challenging for me. And when I saw Krista's, it was actually a YouTube video that I saw, and she basically spoke to me. She was The program was exactly what I was looking for in terms of helping me get to the next step in my practice, and actually just learning how to do the marketing, learning how to reach out to my clients in my niche, and that's what I can do.
Awesome. So you said you started this business a year ago, and you were kind of
Yes,
like putting in the pieces to kind of start it, like incorporating.
exactly.
And then when you got to the marketing piece, so had you had any clients that whole year that you were kind of like putting anything in place? Did you get any clients during that time?
I didn't get any clients, but I did use a couple of my family members as guinea pigs, if you will, but not really. They were in need actually of bookkeeping, and they are still, pretty happy with what I've been able to help them out with. Because, like me, they were doing it, but they weren't sure how to go about, using the software because I use QuickBooks. They did not know how to go about using it and how to track things. And I did help both of them to do that. And they're very happy with what they've been doing. And based on that as well, I was able to talk to a few friends who I knew needed help with bookkeeping. And I was able to, offline talk to them, answer some questions and things like that. They didn't sign up with me, but that's okay. It gave me the experience with talking to people and trying to figure out what their issues were and coming up with solutions for them. So, yeah, so when I joined Krista, I didn't have paying clients per se, but I did have people I was working with. I do need to point out that prior to starting my own practice, this is something I've done before with other companies. I have helped other companies in the past with their bookkeeping, setting up their books, and maintaining it and taking it to the next step. So I'm qualified, and I'm able, and I do have the experience. It's just that I've always done it for someone else, not as my own practice. And it's
Right.
a little bit
Right.
different
Yeah.
when you're starting your own practice.
Let me ask you that. I think that's a really good point. So what you said was like you've already worked in accounting and
Yes,
bookkeeping for
yes,
years.
yes.
So what made you want to go out and do it on your own?
Well, it started out with me wanting to have something on the side that it could grow to eventually become a full-time business. That's what it started out with because we know how the economy is, and one day it's good, and one day it's not so good. And being in the construction industry, it's very cyclical. And overall, I believe that just like they tell you to make sure you save money, you have a 401k, you do certain things. I think that everybody should also have a little side hustle because later on down the line, when you're either not able to keep going to that 9 to 5, or you just want to do your own thing and be somewhere else and basically grow and do something for your own, you have this to do. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go out on my own and start getting clients and start my own practice.
Right. Okay, got you. So it's more like a security for you. Let
Exactly.
me start gearing up to do my own thing, can take more control of, my future and my destiny. Okay, I like that.
Exactly.
So you start this business for a year, you got everything together. You say you used a lot of free resources. And then you were connecting with family. You were really just getting your feet wet. You were just excited just
Yes.
to, just be working with people outside
Hmm.
of your corporate experiences.
Exactly.
That's great. So tell me about the decision, or like what made you say, okay, Krista, or this program, I'm going to decide on that. And was there any other programs that you were considering at the time? Like, how did you make the decision to say, I'm going to join this program?
Well, at the time I made the decision, like I said, it came at the right time and I was in the right frame of mind because I felt like I had taken it to the point that I could with what I knew and with what I had. And I knew that that was my weakness, was the marketing portion. And I just really could not wrap my head around how do I do this. And I saw the video, the YouTube video, where it was one of those suggestions, and I learned about the program, about what you did, and how you helped accountants and bookkeepers and everyone else basically, get their marketing on point and get these clients and get their practice growing. And that's what I felt I was lacking, and I just went for it. I said, you know what, that's it. And I think it was pretty late too. It was one of those things at like midnight or
Right,
something.
right, right.
So funny enough, I did not, I wasn't considering any other programs, or the ones that I had been considering were not they were not the right fit. There were a couple of other programs that were all about the consulting aspect, how to do the marketing for your consulting business, et cetera, et cetera. But I felt like they were still missing something. And that's why I never signed up. But when I saw your YouTube video, that was exactly what I needed because it was geared specifically to bookkeepers and accountants, and it would provide me the information that I was lacking. And I just went ahead, pulled out my credit card, and signed up.
So, I love that because I'm always fascinated because I'll get like these notifications of like people joining the program at like midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm always like fascinated because it's like you do, like you're up, you're up at night, you're trying to figure things out, and then you come across a solution, and it's kind of like, I just need to just go ahead and do this right now.
Exactly. A lot of times we tend to, we are gun shy basically. That's what happens because you're hearing this person and they're offering something, and you have to spend money and you're just not sure if this is going to work. And we all know in marketing, you're saying, you're showing the testimonials and blah blah blah, but can you really trust this person?
Yeah,
And this is one of those things that you have to decide for yourself. What is it that you want to do? What do you want for your business, for your practice? And you don't know it all. So there's nothing wrong with asking for help and getting the help that you need. If
yeah.
this didn't work out, I would have been like, oh well, at least still learned something. Move on to something else.
Right, right. You know, at least you learn what not to do next time, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So let's talk about like just your first couple weeks, your last 4 weeks. Like you just started, you only been in it for, like you said, like 4 weeks. Just tell everybody just what the experience was, and feel free to be as transparent as possible. But like, what steps did you do? What was the experience like, and what results, if any, did you get out of the first 4 weeks?
Okay. Well, I think I did get a lot out of the first 4 weeks, I have to say. And I keep telling myself, this is the best investment I made. This is exactly the type of investment I needed to make in myself and in my business. The one thing that's important is to show up and to do the work. That sometimes you hear it out there and you don't believe it, but that is true because being in a program is not somebody handing you clients or handing you everything. You do have to put in the work. What they do give you are all the tools and guidance that you need in order to do that, to reach your goal. And so my first 4 weeks started out with me actually picking a niche because my niche was not, it was a little too broad. It's literally the first day. That first day that I started in the program, I realized that you know what, I have an issue. That niche is just too broad. I will not be able to be laser focused on who I can help, and I need to narrow it down. And with the program's help, I was able to do that very quickly. Because again, my background is in construction, it is in business, and I have done this, so it was easy to pick my niche out of that. Once I did that, and then everything started kind of falling into place because now that I knew my niche and I knew who my people were, I was able to do more research, or research required to figure out how I could help them and how I can tailor my services to help these people and where I can find them. And this is all through the program. I was able to get that information and figure out how to go about doing it. The branding, for example, which I didn't know to do. I wasn't sure how to go about doing it for Facebook and LinkedIn and all the social media and things. That's all that I got from the program as well, and that was really good. Positioning myself, knowing how to price the work, or how to present. My pricing, my services, my structure, things like that. Those are things that I learned from the program, and I was there. I mean, I come to every single meeting. Even in the middle of the day, I'm there on Mondays, on Thursdays, I'm there, and I'm learning and listening from other people that are also in the program that have been there before and what they have done. And I like the fact that I'm able to ask questions. The materials themselves are really very clear. The videos are clear. There are lots of action items to do. And, if you follow the process, you will be successful basically. And it is a process. You're not going to see changes overnight, but there are some changes you can see right away. I mean, I was very surprised when I got, my first two people reach out to me to want to find out some more about my services. And it's something that was so simple. I just didn't know how to do it and how to reach these people. And with the program's help, I was able to do that. So,
Yeah.
I'm
So
going
to
to
me,
continue putting in the work.
yeah, right. So, and I love that you said that. It shows you step by step everything you need to do. You have to go out and actually
Exactly.
commit and
I
do
need to
the work.
engage with people, because if you don't engage with people, then people don't know who you are. They don't know you're there.
Right.
You could
So
be
tell
a,
me about your first couple of strategy sessions. Like, how did those go?
oh, wow.
Got people from across the country. Let me ask you, were the first couple of calls, were they people in Florida or were they in different states?
No, these were people from Houston because in terms of, again, my niche is residential construction, and at this point there's a huge construction boom in Houston. And so my first couple of people that I spoke to, my strategy sessions, they were in Houston, and the last one was in Alabama. So nobody in Florida.
Nobody
And
in Florida.
it was nerve-wracking, I have to say, because I mean, I went over the material. I knew the information I needed to talk about, but I was still nervous because I was not sure what I was going to be asked. But I learned to listen. The program tells us to listen to the client. You do a lot more listening than talking, and that's what I did. And I was able to pinpoint the issues that they were having and how I could help them. And oh, I totally can help, by the way. Uh, so that went very well, and I was encouraged because these people who reached out to me, it's kind of like when I reached out to Krista. These are people who need help, and they felt like my expertise was exactly what they needed, and they wanted to know if I had the answers and if I could help them out.
Yep.
So
I love
yeah.
That's
that went
awesome.
well.
Right, right. And then I think well, you could tell me, but how many calls did you have before you got your first yes? Before the client was like, "Yep, I want to work with you."
Well, I only had a couple of calls. I think 3 calls, and then I got my first yes. So that was even very surprising for me because I was thinking, oh, I was gonna have to, have a lot of calls before getting that yes. But the people, and that's very encouraging because the people that do finally get on a call, they're ready,
Right.
and and they kind of want to do this. So.
Right, right, right. So tell me
Yeah.
about the first, like, yes, like what's the terms of that engagement?
Okay, so basically, this person was starting out. It's someone who's been doing the work. He's a residential contractor, he's specializing in flooring, and it's something that he's been doing for the past couple of years, and just now decided to go, I guess, legit, if you will, to basically set up himself, set up his business, and set up his bookkeeping and everything else. And he was a little bit lost and didn't know how to go about doing it, and so that's why he reached out to me. And essentially, we decided that we would have the retainer, and I would start doing the bookkeeping for him, setting up all of his books, and also helping him out with his pricing, which is something that's a little different than what other bookkeepers do out there. The It's really part of the estimating. He comes up with his price. He just hasn't had a consistent way of pricing for his customers, and that's something that I will be preparing a template for him, and we will go through this and set up his pricing structure. So
Yeah,
that's a little bit different than what I normally do with the other clients.
yep,
And essentially, in 6 months, we're going to revisit the services that I provide, and we're going to see if we can take it to the next level. So right now, he's really looking to get started, set up, have all of his receipts and invoices, and his costs, everything tracked, and as well as his clients, and what he does and what he charges.
got you, got you.
So.
Awesome. I love that. Awesome. Okay, so as far as the, just to kind of wrap it up, like what would you say? Wait, one, I want to hear about some real world challenges. Like I want you to tell people like that it's possible, but it's not. What do I normally say to people? It's simple, but it's not easy. Like the strategies that you learn, you can like you immediately conceptualized it. You were like, "Yep, if I do that, I'll get this result, and then
Mhm,
when I do this, I'll get this result."
mhm.
But I just want you to kind of be as transparent as possible on what is not easy about this whole process. Like you got people on the phone, you know how to, like you have this proven step by step system, but something is still not as easy as you think it would be. And for you, what would you say that would be?
Well, I have to say I'm kind of an introvert. I'm kind of an introvert, and that's why trying to get clients is difficult for me. Because I mean, I know my stuff, and usually that's what people tell me. Oh, you're so professional, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's when they finally get to talk to me. But just putting myself out there, like literally putting myself out there on social media, having all plastered everywhere so everybody to know what I'm doing. That was, it still is something that I'm not comfortable with. But I see the results and I get it. And, I need to put myself out there and I need to reach out to complete strangers. Wow, that is still really challenging for me. I do it and I close one eye and say, "Oh my gosh, I know what's gonna come of this." And but I have to say, just being able to do it online has probably helped a lot. Because if I had to do this in person, I'm not sure how that would
I
work.
know.
And again, it's because I'm an introvert, and so that's the toughest part for me. Um, but if I do it, I've seen the results. When I talk to people, when I reach out and people actually talk to me, I see the results. So there's nothing wrong with putting myself out there. And if I
And
don't, I'm
nerve-
not going to be seen. I'm not going to be known. Nobody's going to know what's in my head, what I can do to help them. So I need to do it. And I need to be engaging. I need to put the content out there. People need to understand what I do, how I can help them. I'm the only one who can do that. So that means getting on video, means reaching out to people I don't know, means joining groups, means being very social.
Right. All the things that are complete opposite of introvert, right?
Exactly.
But no,
Exactly.
well, so I love that. Okay, so I guess the last question that I would ask you is, well, okay, so it's a two-part. What do you feel helped you most, and what would you say to somebody that's kind of like on the fence, that was in the same position as you were before you joined?
I think the program itself, the materials, having everything laid out for me and in a very logical order and with all kinds of recommendations for not just what to do, but the tools to use and how to use them and the grand picture and then the details and then the action plan. For me, that's the most invaluable part of the program because I was doing it on my own, but to a point, I did not necessarily have that kind of strategy and having that laid out for me, and I understand, okay, with regards to this, these are the steps, this is the outcome. With regards to that, these are the steps, these are the outcome. That's what I really like about it. So if I forget something or if I'm not sure about something, I go back and rewatch the videos, or look at the information again, look at the examples, the samples. That really helped because I got to understand, okay, this is bookkeeping, this is taxes, this and that. I can see how this was put together, I can see what I need to convey, and so having all of that really it has really helped a lot because it's helped me really just rein in everything that I have and focus them into something that is valuable and that's going to make my marketing work. So if somebody is out there looking or thinking about it, I would say just go ahead and do it because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So no matter what, no matter what you're trying to do or what you want to do, I read it somewhere. It says, it's out there. Somebody else has already thought of it. Somebody else has already done it.
Yes.
Stop trying to reinvent the wheel because it's extremely difficult. And with this program, I feel like that's what you're doing. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're going along for a ride, and the ride will take you exactly where you need to go.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Norlan, for telling your story, for just
You're
letting people
welcome.
know like your beginning, being really transparent about the process. I know it's gonna help a lot of people, especially those introverts, like, because I would consider myself an introvert, but it's like once you see the results, once you're like, oh, this, if I do this, I get this action over here, then it's like it's just more motivation for you to keep going. So thank you so
Exactly.
much. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Krista.